Okay, I'm sharing the screen. So the topic of today's discussion is pedigree. We will be doing pedigree from genetics, which is a very important topic for FOP and TAS exam. First of all, introducing what is a pedigree. It is a chart that diagrams the inheritance of a trait or health condition through generations of a family, and it shows the relationship among the family members which individual have the traits of interest. It shows that it is the graphical representation of the inheritance, right? What information it gives you? First, it gives information about the family, that is about the consanguinity, about the inheritance, different traits like skin color, hair color, or any other phenotypes, genetic ancestry, and proband. What is a proband? Proband is an individual who is affected by genetic condition, and he is usually the first person in the family who brings the concern of genetic disorder to the attention of the healthcare. All right. First of all, you should know about the terminology and what is the graphical representation of different signs and symbols which are used in a pedigree. Terminology, you all know, one is the affected and one is the carrier, and the different terminologies which come along, I will explain that. This square, it represents the male, and circle, it represents the female. If male or female is affected, then it is shaded. The shaded one, it is the affected one. The line drawn between both is for mating, and if the line is double, it means cousin marriage, mating between the relatives. All right. Then a tree which is coming down, and we can see squares and circles that are the offspring in the birth order. All right, birth order. Next, you can see the identical twins and the non-identical twins. For non-identical twin, there is no line between that line which is on the base. No line is present for the non-identical twins. So this is basic introduction how you interpret a pedigree. Two questions you have to keep in mind. These are the notes I made myself, and I will provide you these notes. After this, it will be easy for you to interpret. Two questions you have to keep in mind. The first is, you see, is every generation affected? If yes, then it is dominant. If no, then it is recessive. Alright? For dominant, one parent must have the disorder. And for recessive, parents are carriers but they don't have the disorder. So first you see that there is no skipping of the generation. If there is no skipping of the generation, it becomes the dominant. You label it dominant. If there is skipping, or if there is no skipping of the generation, then it is dominant, and if there is skipping of the generation, it is recessive. Second question you have to keep in mind is there male to male transmission, that is father to son transmission? If there is male to male transmission, yes, then it becomes the autosomal. If there is no male to male transmission, then it becomes X-linked. All right, clear up to that? Then come towards here. I have just summarized in few bullets, so you keep it in mind, and then we will be solving one by one all the pedigrees. Skipping of the generation with unaffected parents. Parents can be carrier but they are not affected by the disease, plus generations are skipped, so it becomes the recessive trait. If there is male to male transmission, then it becomes autosomal. Alright, so it becomes autosomal recessive. If all generations are affected, these are two scenarios I just wrote here, so we can solve in the next few pages. If all generations affected, then it is dominant. They have at least one affected parent. And if no father to son transmission, then it becomes X-linked, means transmitted via the mother. One thing about the X-linked is, I will show you in the next examples. You can better understand with the example. You see, just this is a pedigree. As you can see, there is no skipping of the generation. There are 3 lines. Horizontally, you can see. Are you comfortable with this kind of teaching? You understanding me? Please, someone acknowledge me.
Yes, it's the best way and easiest one.
Sorry.
It is the best way. We are understanding it, and it is very seems to be very concise and to the point and approach.
Yeah. If not comfortable, then I can change the method. But first, you see, I have made a pedigree, right? You see, there are 3 lineages, 3 generations. You can see every generation has affected both male and females, means every generation is involved. So the first step you do is, you see, if every generation is affected, you label it dominant, right? First step done. Second step, you see, for male to male transmission, like here, male to male transmission is present. Look, the first father, he is transmitting to his son, and the son, when he got married, towards the, you can see towards the left side, he also transmitted to his son. So male to male transmission is present, and on the other side, even the female is also transmitting to the offsprings, but male to male transmission is present. Our second question, so it becomes, what it becomes, autosomal. If male to male transmission is present, it becomes autosomal. So this becomes autosomal dominant. Now I will explain what happened in the autosomal dominant. Both genders are equally affected. As you can see in the above example, both male and female seems equally affected. Both genders are transmitting to the offspring. See, father is also transmitting, and mother on the right side, on the left side, mother is also transmitting. On the right side, you can see male is also transmitting. There is no skipping of generation, and you can see every child has a parent with disorder. So this becomes the autosomal dominant. What are the examples of autosomal dominant? Achondroplasia, von Willebrand disease, Marfan syndrome, Alagille syndrome, neurofibromatosis 1 and 2, myotonic dystrophy, and Williams syndrome. I have a mnemonic I will share at the end for memorization of these examples. Alright, I will share at the end. Next, see this one. Look, this dot in the square or circle is a carrier. Alright, this dot which I have made is a carrier. Either this dot I have made myself, but if half of this square or half of the circle is shaded, then usually in most of the time in exams or in practical life, you see, if half of the circle or square it is shaded, it shows the carrier state. If full of the circle or square is shaded, it shows the affected state. So this dot I have shown the carrier. Look, first generation, second generation, first generation has the carrier, second has the carrier, means skipping of generation is present. They don't have affected individuals in all the generations. So we said if there is skipping of the generation, then what it becomes? It becomes recessive. So you label recessive with yourself. The second question we see is male to male transmission. It is male to male transmission. So I cannot see male to male transmission. Both female and male are transmitting the disease, but see, where male and female both are carriers, both with the dot. Where both with the dot they mate, their offspring are affected. If both parents are carrier and their offspring are affected, it is recessive and autosomal. So it becomes the, what it becomes? Autosomal recessive. Got it? Clear, right? Where difficulty, please let me know. Both genders are equally affected. Both genders, they transmit to offspring, skipped generation or no prior family history, and both parents must be carriers to have the affected offspring. The examples are sickle cell anemia, beta thalassemia, cystic fibrosis, factor 13 deficiency, Fanconi anemia, TAR syndrome, phenylketonuria, SMA, MKID deficiency, and many inborn error of metabolism. All right. Okay, you got a question in FOP exam, and they ask you the percentage of carriers and the percentage of affected. I will share that question too. That question has a logic. I will also share. I'm just sharing the questions which are keep coming in the TAS and FOP exam. So you write with yourself that these questions can come. This question is coming all the time in the exam, where the percentage, they ask the percentage. I will give you the formula, okay? Next pedigree is coming. You see, skipping of generation. Is there skipping of generation? Please participate with me.
First generation is involved, then second are the carriers.
Yes, there it means there is beta
Third
there is the skipping of generation. It means it recessive. It is recessive. So you label it
yes,
recessive. All
yes,
right. And the second
yes.
question is male to male transmission. Skipping is
Males are
present, so
affected.
you label it recessive. Male to male transmission. I cannot see male to male transmission, so it
There is
becomes
no male.
X linked.
Females are carriers and males are affected in this.
Yes, yes. Female are carriers and male are affected. There are with X linked recessive, females are the carriers and males are the affected. Alright, it becomes the X linked recessive. We will practice it again and again. You will learn, inshallah, okay? It is X linked recessive. Here, males are much more frequently affected than females. No father to son transmission and skipped generation. Examples are hemophilia A, hemophilia B, G6PD, Duchenne muscular dystrophy, Lesch-Nyhan syndrome, and OTC deficiency. Okay, coming towards the next. Every generation is affected. See, first generation affected, second generation affected, third generation affected, fourth. All generations are affected. No skipping, so it becomes dominant. Next, you see for the male to male transmission. No male to male transmission. Female is transmitting, these dots are deceased. No male to male transmission, so it becomes X linked dominant. Am I right? It becomes X linked dominant. Look,
How
what
to
are the
differentiate
points?
X-linked dominant and autosomal dominant? What is the catch point between these two? Because each generation is affected in both. Male
Okay,
to male
okay.
transmission is not in X-linked.
You want to ask the difference between the X linked dominant and the autosomal
And
dominant.
dominant, how we differentiate between two?
Okay, okay, I show you.
Because
Look,
is affected in both.
Autosomal dominant. Look, here is no skipping of the generations.
Okay.
All right, no skipping of the generation in both. No skipping of generation is present in the both. In X-linked dominant, if a female is affected, if a male is affected, sorry, if a male is affected, he 100% transmit to the daughters. 100% he transmit to the daughters. Whenever you
Okay.
see a affected male, daughters are 100% affected. This is the difference. Another slide I'm going to show you, then it will become more clear to you. And
Okay.
X-linked dominant females are twice likely to be affected. All right,
Yes.
twice likely to be affected. Okay, we did this. This is X-linked dominant. Female twice likely to be affected, no father to son transmission. Affected male 100% they transmit to the daughters.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Hypophosphatemic rickets, incontinentia pigmentae, fragile X, Rett syndrome, Aicardi syndrome, Alport and Waltz syndrome. Okay, another thing which comes, there is a disease where when female, where we have the affected female, they transmit 100% disease to the offspring, and both genders are equally affected. If we have affected male never transmit the disease. Affected male transmission 0%. But if there is a female, then 100% all. If they have four offspring, if they have five offspring, all of them are affected. So this kind of pedigree where affected female and all offspring are affected, this is the mitochondrial inheritance. The best examples are Miller's and Murph, Pearson syndrome, Leak syndrome. All right.
Yes.
Okay, now I am going to show you some more little slides. These notes I will be providing you because I have made them myself and they helped me a lot. I just used the formula. This formula I used. The two questions I asked myself in every such question where they ask about inheritance, I see for the skipping of the generation, which is the first step, and second I see for the male to male transmission. Then there is a way to remember the example, and these are the mnemonics which I have. I will share these mnemonics with you. I will share the pictures rather. For autosomal dominant, we have it's better to take a picture of that. Dominant RVH. D for diamond black fan. O for osteogenesis imperfecta. M for Marfan syndrome. E for epidermolysis bullosa simplex. N for Noonan. A for achondroplasia, then N for neurofibromatosis, then tuberous sclerosis, R for retinoblastoma, V for von Willebrand and Huntington. I will share these mnemonics in the group. Okay, I have written these mnemonics with myself. I will share, then you memorize it. I am going to show you some more pictures to make it clear. Look, square for male, circle for female. If affected, then it is full shaded. If half shaded, then it is the carrier. All right. Next picture. These are the examples. These I have kept for mock mock test in the next session. Okay, look, we have formulas. X for X-linked dominant and X-linked recessive. X-linked dominant affected daughters from affected fathers. This is rule number 1. Daughters from the affected fathers. And X-linked recessive affected sons from the affected mothers. Look here, orange square is the father and the red circles are the daughters. When square is affected, when father is affected and all of the daughters are affected, this becomes X-linked dominant. The second formula is, this is for female. Green one is the mother. This circle is affected and only males are affected. Blue one. So affected sons from the affected mothers are X-linked recessive. And you can memorize this. There was a formula. These examples we will be doing in the next session. This will be testing your knowledge. All right. Is it clear? Is it clear till here?
Yes. In the X-linked, mother is not a disease, it should be a carrier.
Which one? X-linked?
Green one example where we show the mother in green,
Yeah,
she
yeah.
is seems to be affected. But X-linked disease, mothers are the carriers only, until unless there is a line hypothesis. That's why they are carrier.
Look, look, look. Look, again look. Again look at the pictures.
X-linked, I am asking for X-linked recessive. The mother is only a carrier, not diseased.
No, no. Mother, if mother is diseased, mother can transmit to the son.
Basically, I am asking, is it's common that mother is diseased in S-linked because she's a carrier in S-link and she can transmit the disease to the boys.
If mother is affected, if mother is not a carrier, if mother is affected, then she transmit to the son. In X-linked recessive, recessive shows the skipping of the generation, and X-linked shows no male to male transmission. See, if male come, male can transmit to daughters, but male cannot transmit to the sons. This is the rule. Mother can
That's
transmit to the son. They don't say that mother can't be affected or mother can't transmit. Mother can transmit, but father cannot transmit to the son. Father can transmit to the daughters. This is the rule. Got it? Got my point?
yes. Yes, yes.
No, you practice it. You practice it. You will. Everything will be clear. If you practice, then things become